Welcome, everybody, to the Salt Mine Pod Twitch channel as we kick off our official coverage of the North American Challengers League qualifiers in their GSL stage, which usually means elimination is afoot, but not tonight for our matchup with one of the potential biggest contenders in this entire qualifiers. It's going to be the Group B upper bracket matchup, Dragoons Goons taking on Gentle Hearts Gaming. And I, of course, am very excited to be joined by the one, the only Thousand Eyes. And what a matchup we've got here, with especially thinking about what Gentle Hearts Gaming did to get to this point.
Yeah, exactly. Coming in, they upset Nightblood in a 2-1 series to just get up to this point. Now they are up against I won't even say arguably, just a harder opponent in Dragoon's Goons, who have been just dominating throughout a lot of this NACL queue. So I am excited. I think this is obviously going to be a game or a series rather, where teams do have to start to pull out some of the crazy stuff, start to get a little bit wild, catch people off guard, because that's where a lot of the upsets can start to come from.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that's the great part about this series with our True Fearless format. I was fortunate enough last week to watch the Ducky Getter series where they went a full 3 games. And what did they pull out? Well, they ran Rough Beans on Ivern mid and Bio on Rengar jungle to end up taking that series. So, at this point, you just always got to be crossing your fingers for 3 games with the format we've gotten, especially with the hecticness of the live patch that we're currently on.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of funky stuff that could come out. I do, just looking through OPGGs, have seen a couple of interesting things that I'm hoping we get to see later on, but definitely have to keep your pool wide in order to stay relevant. If this game goes to 3 games, we are in for a treat in game number 3 in terms of what picks we're going to get.
Yeah, and as I mentioned earlier, though, it is important to remember this is not an elimination match for either one of
Mhm.
these teams. So Dragoon's Good certainly were probably thinking they would be in this spot. Gentle Hearts Gaming, like you alluded to, Thousand Eyes, maybe not in that similar scenario. They will be playing. They still have a shot if they drop down here to still make a run. And for an org like Gentle Hearts Gaming, I know they've had a couple of teams that have made it to this GSL stage by this point. This is probably, in my mind, their most competitive roster they've put together for a qualifier so far. It feels like the goal for them is at least making it to the quarterfinals, and it's all
Mhm.
the more interesting when we talk about, we kind of already alluded to it, what the goals are for this Dragoons Goons roster.
Yeah, I mean, Dragoon's Goods obviously are looking to just go all the way, right? They came
Right.
in number 1 seed, a pretty strong number 1. I think every single person that voted put them at number 1 seed. There was just no competition at all for that, and they've been showing that. Gentle Hearts, they have been around here and there. We have seen them in OQs, and just slowly, OQ after OQ, we do see them kind of getting better and better. Maybe a little up and down, but really, Gentle Hearts have really kind of shown up this time around. And if you could just keep taking those incremental steps, you get to be an org that gets an opportunity to qualify for NACL.
Yeah, and while we have some time with draft soon to start off, we can talk about some of these rosters. I think it's fitting that I read out both these rosters. We'll start with the number 1 seed, just in case some of you weren't too familiar why this is the consensus number 1 seed in this qualifiers. They've got Dragoon in the Dragoon in the top lane. That one was obvious. Kisno sliding into the jungle there. Sudsy in the mid lane. Array and Daption get to team up in that bottom lane as well. So not only Thousand Eyes do you have just pure talent, but you have proven talent at levels that
Yeah.
come from above this qualifiers.
Yeah, it's proven talent time after time. Players that not only have proven themselves, but also just have a lot of experience, right? Like, the one of the things that always kind of comes up in OQs, and why you see like some teams that may have a lot of just raw talent not do well, is just they don't have the experience in competitive yet. You're not used to playing against really strong competitive teams, and all 5 of these players have that experience, and that is why they are rated so very strongly.
I'm glad you used the raw talent analogy, though, because we talk about Gentle Hearts Gaming's roster. I believe there is certainly a lot of that sort of
Mhm.
raw talent that is looking to get that experience. That roster obviously does have some veterancy to it, and it starts right off with the top lane. Piecake Lord, PCL, is going to be their top laner. Cross is in the jungle. Zhao Danny's their mid laner. Devin is their AD carry, and then they round out that sort of middle core of real great young talent with Clyde from Northwood there in the bottom lane. So I'm curious about how you feel about roster configurations for Gentle Hearts, but I am certainly a fan of the method of, all right, we got to put some veterans in there. We need to have a shot calling voice, but you always want to swing for that, high upside
Yeah.
young talent. And I really think, especially in mid and 80 carry specifically, Gentle Hearts fill out that role as well.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I mean, you talked about before we started, Devin is just somebody that you value very, very highly. I honestly value, I think Cross is a really good player. I've watched Cross in a couple of different combines now, and he's always just been a pretty top of the talent level in those combines. So I'm definitely keeping my eyes there as well, because I think Gentle Hearts, like you said, there's talent there. It's just, can they put it all together to take on the beast that is Dragoon's Goons?
Yeah, and it's important to mention the Gentle Hearts have already kind of been through a bit of a whirlwind, especially in their Swiss stage. They started their second game off with an actual loss coming in that Swiss stage, so they ended up going into day two with a 1-1 record. They weren't necessarily expecting as that 8 seed end up getting reseeded, and they actually had to play already an elimination game. They were in one of those 2-2 matches, so I'm curious. That Thousand Eyes, we talked about the experience. We're going to talk about a lot as this entire series goes on, but how much do you value the fact that Gentle Hearts already had to play for their entire qualifier lives in the Swiss stage in a best of one like that against Kosa Gamers?
It's so okay. The thing with that is that could go either way, right? Like
Mhm.
you either have players that like, okay, we've had that experience, we know what it's like to have our back against the walls, and we're just prepared for it. Like it's just good experience to have. And then you have other teams where that can just kind of like shake them a little bit. That can make kind of rock them to their core, and they're like, oh, we were almost out. Like we cannot mess up like that again. And then you start to get in your own head about things. So I don't know which way that could go, but there's definitely the opportunity for it to splinter in either direction.
Well, Gentle Hearts have played a ton of close best of ones. Their only best of three so far was a 3-game sprint. So, will they keep up that trend? It's time to find out. You guys can tell we're already into that game number one draft. What does intrigue me though, Thousand Eyes, is Dragoon's Goons definitely had side selection, and they wanted to start on the red side.
Yeah, that is a little interesting. I think blue side a little bit favored at the moment, but I mean, Dragon one might be feeling a little cocky. Two, they may have something that they want to get for a counter pick. They may have something in mind that they want to be ready to counter pick and feel like it can get them just a straight up win very easily. And they may just value the red side over that.
Well, we'll see exactly how it shapes up. We're starting with some of those bands flying out here. Pretty stock standard ones, I think, especially if you want to cover the flexibility of some of these
Mm,
champions, Talia and Rumble in particular. But Nala's just feels like the end all be all king of engage supports right now in the bottom lane. So if Gentle Hearts don't want to be one of Nautilus here, I think it's pretty smart to ban it away.
Yeah, if you're not looking to grab it, you just want to take it off. Tristana, another one of those that generally not really being seen as flexible, but does have the ability to kind of just gain control of any mid lane. You get wave control, you get dueling ability, you get the ability to roam generally earlier. Tristana does a lot of great things in the mid lane against most matchups here. So if you want to keep that off the board, I think it's a fine ban. Corki also has been pretty strong as of late, and has been another flex pick too. Been able to go in the bot lane, but also just in the mid lane still. He's been very strong there as well.
Yeah, that seems like the what the old memes, it was like Azir Oriana is the mid lane matchup,
Yeah.
or
And
the new one's Corki Tristana. So we're not going to see
yep.
that one. We saw it all of Swiss from every team you could think of. Not going to get it in this game number one. Ashe also going to get taken off the table here as one of those premier full blown marksmen. I like that ban a lot from Dragoon's Goons. And now it's up to Gentle Hearts. Where do they want to go with this B1? And to not see an AP jungler get
Yeah.
hovered is a bit surprising to me.
A little bit. Yeah, no, there's a lot of strong AP jugglers. Syra, Brand, um even Lily.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So
I see. We have a mix up. Okay, so it is actually
that makes a lot
Talia
more
first
sense.
pick. Kindred
Yeah.
was banned. So
All right.
I that's gonna mess me up because I'm gonna look up and see the Kindred and get confused. But that is a Talia first pick for Gentle Hearts. And all right, if that's not banned, yeah, you take that. If that's on the board, you
Yeah.
definitely want to grab that because, like we said, it is a flex pick. You have it for jungle, you have it for mid lane. You can put it wherever feels best. The response being the Senna, which I have seen Senna start to crawl back up into relevance a little bit, but I am a little surprised to see it come out this early.
Yeah, I think the relevance is with her new partners. And the Ornn lock-in is what is the new premier partner with this Senna in the bottom lane. So that'll be very interesting to see Array and Daption pilot. One of the things that I'm such a big fan of with a guy like Daption is the fact that he can be so unique with his support picks. He's willing to play a lot of really flexible things, so the Ornn makes a ton of sense here. But what's one way to counter a champion that has about 3 knockups and a couple of slows? Well, pick the fastest champion in the game once the ult gets popped. So Devin on the Zeri with that lightning crash is going to be very fun to watch as Cross locks in an early game jungler for GHG.
Yeah, which does mean that Talia, the Kindred that masquerading as a Talia, is going to be going in that mid lane. So we do have that locked in. The LeBlanc cover is a response to that, which is a little interesting because you can kind of catch yourself off guard if you're not prepared. But regardless, the Zeri, it's not only like all you said, has all that power against something like Ornn, where you can just keep running and running. Also is played a lot by Devin. It's a very much a comfort champ there. So that is a comfort pick for Gentle Hearts. But they do have to work with this Rek'Sai now. So Rek'Sai does kind of put them a little bit on a timer. Rek'Sai needs to make moves early and kind of be the engine for this team in the early game.
Yeah, I'm curious if they're going to play maybe more towards PCL for the early game with that Rek'Sai. I think it could be very difficult, even with whatever pairing you go with this Zeri, to kind of gank a Zeri lane. But we'll certainly see how that one pans out as we are into the second phase of bans. And Dragoon's Goons, they're just going to take what's been given to them. They're going to take out the obvious lane that is left here, trying to target out Clyde's champ pool.
Yeah. So that will be off the board. Now, the Leona and the Lulu is a little interesting. I know I think Lulu's kind of weak at the current moment overall. I'd be a little surprised if that would be picked up. We do see the brand locked in for Dragoon's Goons, likely going to be jungling in this game. And the Camille hover right now for Gentle Hearts, which is
Wow.
essentially a blind pick. There's flexibility there, obviously, but you are unsure where that's going in. A Blitzcrank lock-in, which into an Ornn and the possibility of another top lane tank being picked is a very scary proposition.
And also the fact it's next to a Zeri.
That's also a little bit of a funny one.
Yeah. I thought this would have been a Melio slam. I think Melio's a stronger enchanter. I'm kind of with you on the Lulu slander a little bit here, paired with that Zeri. Blitzcrank, it's the most feaster. It's like a top 5 feast or famine champion in League of Legends, right? Like we can critique this pick from draft all we want, but if Clyde hits hook after hook after hook, it doesn't matter. But if he starts whiffing them, where's the Blitzcrank useful?
So here's the thing that concerns me in this is you as Blitzcrank really only have 2 real targets here because LeBlanc is so slippery. You're rarely ever going to be able to land a hook on her. Set and Ornn are champions you actively don't want to hit hooks on. And then Brand and Senna are your real targets here. And Senna is going to get really long range the later this game goes. So while you usually think like, oh, Blitzcrank always has relevancy, he has a little bit less against something like Senna that does get range to just kind of avoid him at a later point in the game. So I'm very confused on the Blitzcrank pick. I don't agree with it is I think the best way I'd say it. And I think it does kind of really put this team like on a hard timer here. They have to get this Zeri going. They need to get her core items built because the Rek'Sai and the Blitzcrank are going to hit a point where they are not going to be super relevant in the later portions of the game.
Well said there, Thousand Eyes. One place Blitzcrank will be very relevant is level 1 shenanigans, and we are ready to go live to Summoner's Rift. And I'm going to try to keep this entire getting onto the Rift spiel short because everyone's eyes are just going to watch exactly what Gentle Hearts are doing. Let's see where Clyde goes. It does seem to be a fan star, which feels like a crime whenever you're picking Blitzcrank, but hey, we're here.
Yeah. I mean, it's always kind of hit or miss because when you get this is another thing of like, okay, how much experience do you have in comp? Because teams in comp will just stack against the Blitzcrank, and if you stack in a way that he's not prepared for, you do just get jumped and things could go really, really poorly. But yeah, I mean, it does. Oh, that is I don't think I've ever seen the B Blitzcrank skin, honestly.
Yeah. Oh,
that is
it's a beehive.
Yeah, it's a little beehive.
It's a giant honeycomb.
Because you stick to him. Yeah, that's cute.
It should help him hit hooks because he's sticky. Yeah. Imagine they just give him
like
a little bit bigger of a hitbox for his hook.
Yeah,
it's a honeycomb.
Well, I think
Well,
his hook's from his left hand, right?
oh. Oh, that is the knockup hand. What am I talking
That's the
about?
knockup hand. That I feel like that's a little bit of a missed opportunity. Regardless,
Well, we'll see. It looks like we're getting a same side start. So Dragoon did not get a forward ward, so they won't be able to track the blue. There is a
interesting.
word onto the Raptors of Kisno, so we'll see exactly how these paths look. The one advantage Gentle Hearts will have is you're expecting Thousand Eyes Cross to have a lot more effective an early game into just a power farming brand.
Yeah, also interesting to note here, Dragoon starting the W on set, which is not what you normally start. That is usually the E just for that dueling potential, but does just, I guess, want to poke with that and go for something there. Also, yeah, I'm a little confused why the ward did not go down early. Regardless, level 2 is going to be hit about even on the bot side.
Yeah, no hook up here for Clyde, but he's still stepping up really aggressively. Dapshin's going to punish well. Array really using the range well to get a ton of poke down. They'll just all walk away. No summoners burned, but I don't think we're going to have a very quiet lane for much longer.
I don't know, because, okay, they went up for that trade, and the problem is that Clyde hit the knockup right when the W was going from Dapshin, so just canceled that knockup entirely, and just made that trade really, really rough for Gentle Hearts here. We also see in the mid lane here, LeBlanc, things can go really badly into Talia. Not always, though, as they're full fighting.
God. Yeah, Devin pops barrier. Ray steps up a little too far without Dapshin there, getting a really low health bar, but does a really good job to use the incoming minion wave to block out all of that Zeri damage. If Devin doesn't have the E passive up, it's really hard to push any damage through the wave.
Yeah, good trade back. Flashes are both still up for Devin and Clyde, and Dapshin no longer has his, so that will be something to keep eyes on. One wrong move from Dapshin can cause a first blood pretty easily.
Xiao Denny's certainly feeling the brunt of those trades. All pots are done for in that mid lane matchup, as we do see Kisno does. Yeah, there you go. Kisno does get spot on that ward, and he will pick up that crab with the help of Sudsy. And that is the one great part about Brand Jungle, why these AP junglers are so strong. Their clear speeds are just bonkers.
Yeah, a little bit silly. You can see Cross just showing up and does spot out Kisno. They will just back away. Nobody wants to over-engage on this, and Sudsy just goes back to beating up on Xiao here, because the thing you also just have to remember is, while Talia does have the stun on the E, LeBlanc dash comes out so fast that you rarely are going to be able to do much about it, and you can see Sudsy playing around that really well right now.
And Sudsy has that really key early teleport advantage because Yadeni had to take that trade and was forced to back here. Is Dragoon certainly using that W pretty well, gets the Conqueror proc as well, so PCL maybe staying a little bit too long. You always have to be careful how long you're willing to trade with the set.
Definitely do. You also have to be aware of just like trades. Oh
my god, maybe not for PCL. He just first bloods. Dragoon plays way too close to the line. And the veteran top laner of GHC is not going to let it fly.
So the whole thing that I was going to say there was just, as we have junglers showing up bot side, you cannot poke set out. He will heal more than you, just he has the better regen. You have to go for the burst, and PCL hitting that perfectly up on the top side will force the TP out of Dragoon, and Cross is just going to have to watch his Krug camp go away as Devin and Clyde cannot help.
That's the second time since we've watched bot side that Dapshin has canceled a hook with that unstoppable form. So, once again, this was a Blitzcrank picked into the Ornn, so keep that in mind every time he interrupts that hook. But on the other side, like you're talking about top side, PCL blinded the Camille into the set. So, yeah, I guess that even sings out.
So the thing is, the Blitzcrank was picked in not only into the Ornn, but knowing that the Ornn was likely going bot side. We saw the bans from Gentle Hearts. They knew that the Ornn was going bot with the Senna, and they still wanted to pick the Blitzcrank into that regardless, and that definitely raises a couple of question marks for me.
Without a doubt. We're still waiting to see how effective Clyde can be. I do like that he's already out roaming. You got a Zeri in the bot lane into a lane that can't really punish her too much for farming. So they're going to get out and use Clyde to play for these grubs. They do steal a camp away from Kisno. And we'll see where Cross's priorities lie with the control over the top river.
Cross may look to try and counter out this gank up top side. Looks like starting Krugs now.
Okay, Array shows up. PCL does get pulled back in, a good chunk of damage down. And both teams are really wanting to prowl these Void Grubs. Cross is going to grab the first one. I got to think with the numbers, the Gentle Hearts are just going to be happy taking the one away.
Yeah, that was actually really smart there. Array going up there, getting the gank off. The gank didn't look like much, but it took health off and it shoved that wave, which meant Array could just walk down with Dragoon. Now, Gentle Hearts didn't have PCL to help with the grubs, and that meant that Cross had to back away from it. So despite the fact that Clyde did match that roam, the roam was a lot more effective from Array, and it does mean that 2 Void Grubs are going to go over to Dragoon's Goons.
And Array is on that fasting Senna, so the farm doesn't matter. Just
Exactly.
chasing souls, chasing effectiveness on the Rift, because I'm sure we're not going to look bottom lane at any point because it's a Zeri Ornn. They're just going to be comfortably farming, but Clyde is looking for something. Flashes to get the knockup and the hook down. Array will respond with a flash of his own. Cross looking to go forward. Sudsy is going to dodge the seismic shove with a re-distort forward. Cross will fall. Clyde is caught in the middle of nowhere in mid lane, and Sudsy is back at it again. 2 kills back to the Goons.
Oh, I like the look from Clyde, but just went a little bit too deep, and Cross could not follow up. Tower a little bit too close, and Array flashing back to safety. Bought all the time needed. Bot side, Devin will dodge out from the Ornn ult, but with the numbers down, does seem like Dragon will be going over to Dragoon's Goons as well. So both early objectives going over to the red side, and that is Dragoon's Goons getting the lead we kind of expected them to have in this series.
Without a doubt, and most of their gold lead is coming from the fact that these CS leads are really starting to balloon as well, especially in the jungle. It's going to help that Kisna's going to grab that first break to boost it up, but also that mid lane matchup. I mean, this is just what Sudsy's been doing at this level for what feels like over a year.
Yep, pretty much. It's been very, very good, and Sudsy obviously has a lot of experience in this matchup, has been bullying the Taliyah a lot here, and the problem then becomes like, where else do you go? PCL has been doing pretty solid against Dragoon up on the top side, but it doesn't feel like there's a lot that you can do when PCL is generally controlling that wave. On the bot side, it's an Ord. You're not doing a whole lot to the Ord. Senna has been roaming, sure, and I think that's really why Clyde was like, I have to make the move now because we need to catch Senna in a position because she's one of the few people we actually do have a chance to kill.
They do have the summoners off of Array for a bit, so there still is a decent window, especially with that Hex Flash for Clyde. And we do see, of course, he's not going back bottom lane. Clyde is going to feel pretty homeless for the rest of this game, and that is what you signed up for with this Blitzcrank pick.
I mean, yeah, if you're just sitting in bot lane trying to hook an Ornn on repeat, I would be questioning a little bit. So I think the right move is to just move around. If you can try to move around with Cross, if Cross can catch somebody out, get the knock up and make an easy hook there, or just be ready for a possible jump onto somebody else here, like Sudsy was trying to get onto Taliyah here. But Clyde just not able to get a whole lot done yet.
Yeah, PCL, I feel like they were hunting the other immobile target they've got, which is Kisno's brand, but actually dodged him out as he finished off his Krug, so he doesn't even lose any camps. And that pressure is only just pressure for GHD. They can't find much more besides that. And the question now becomes, Thousand Eyes, for you, how comfortable can Gentle Hearts be trying to play this scale game in your mind? I mean, they do have the Zeri, but it doesn't feel like a route that'll find them a lot of success. And Xiao Denny takes another rough trade.
I mean, I think that's what scares me is LeBlanc can do that to Taliyah consistently. Meanwhile, topside, we do get something there. So PCL Cross are able to grab another kill onto Dragoon, but I don't know how much that really changes things. I think the problem is once you go to the late game, teamfight is just straight up better for Dragoon's Goons. I think you have a lot more skirmish potential with the Zeri and the Taliyah, and I think you have split push potential with PCL on the Camille. But I think in straight up team fights, a Senna Ornn is a very hard matchup to beat, especially when you also have a set for frontline and a brand to help with the DPS as well.
Yeah, brand damage late in the game is underratedly scary and will be a big threat. But I'm glad you brought up the split map because I do think that's the one place where Gentle Hearts have the advantage. Rek'Sai can get around the rift a lot faster. As we see, oh my god, Devin and Daps are going hands for hands.
Yes.
And the Horn's going to get it. Teleport for PCLs. They're trying to fight over these Void Grubs, but Array is going to stay safe. Sunsy able to get back over the wall as well. Cross will steal one of the Grubs away from Kisno. Will not grab the second, though, as Dragoon punches it to death. Here comes the Weaver's Wall from Zhao Denny, trying to cut off maybe some escapes, but immediately drops it as quickly as he puts it up.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so just crazy fight. A lot of cooldowns burned, but nothing really gained, except for Daption on the bot lane here. All right, let's be a little bit careful of the tower here, buddy. But Daption getting the 1v1 there. I don't even know how it got to that point, but Daption just running down the Zeri, and that's very concerning. Because if you're already having the Zeri struggle here, she's going to have to hit a lot more items before she comes relevant against somebody like this Ornn stacking the armor.
Yeah, and there's still a lot of time before that really comes along. Dude. Gentle Hearts, the real lane that they feel powerful in is going to be this top side, and that pass, the W is down here for Dragoon for a time being. PCL holding on to the Hextech ultimatum, didn't even need it. 1Q2 will pop Dragoon, who falls for a third time. He is all of their deaths.
Yeah, I think it's becoming very clear. The key to winning this game for Gentle Hearts is all on PCL. If PCL can keep 1v1ing, if it can be a 1-4 split, and PCL runs the table with Dragoon, there's a lot of opportunity there. Triforce already finished by PCL. He's going to go back with even more gold here as he's going to try to finish this tower. Yeah, he's going to get this first turret, and all of a sudden, PCL is a split-pushing monster, and Gentle Hearts need to recognize this and start playing around this.
I think they have the tools to do it. They have a lot more map pressure with the Weaver's Wall and a Rek'Sai that can get to those side lanes quicker. So we'll see if they can play that numbers advantage to a good T here. We do see Clyde and Cross in this bot side. Devin maybe trying to play a little bit of bait here. See if Daption and Array will step a little too far up.
He's standing right next to the wall, too, just telling Daption, like, hit the E button. Just go all in on me, buddy. Nothing will go wrong. And Daption did not buy the bait here, but now Daption's going to have to run interference as the Dragon's being started.
Ooh, yeah, his unstoppable form went down, so Clyde went for the hook. They're going to try and burn down the orb. PCL over the wall. Hextech goes fade onto Kisno. Daption's down. There goes Kisno as well. Gentle Hearts explode for a quick 2, and they grab the Dragon. This is PCL's game as he takes it all over.
Absolutely perfect play there. PCL roaming down first, being ready for the Dragon, and they catch Daption out. Daption's very tanky, but 4 people hitting him is still going to kill him. Goes down early, and PCL just gets full reign to run down the rest of the people over at Dragon. By the time Dragoon TPs into this fight, it is already too late. PCL is the strong point of this team, and Gentle Hearts have shown they know that, and they're pulling him around the map to get things done.
Upset in round 1 of Group B, leading in gold in game number 1 of the upper bracket. This is exactly what Gentle Hearts have been doing so far in their GSL run, and it's already impressive given just the state of the game, what, 2-3 minutes ago, Thousand Eyes?
Yeah, I mean, it seemed really, really rough, and it was like, all right, cool. The only way to play this game is just a I would say like a non-standard way of trying to play versus like, oh, we just get strong and we team fight or we pick people. This is like all about just getting PCL around the map and split pushing with him. If you could allow this Camille inside lane, I think that is really all Gentle Hearts have going for them at the very minimum until Zeri starts getting like a second, third item under her belt. Once that happens, Devin will be a lot more of a threat, but until then, it is kind of just all on the top lane here.
Yeah, and our lovely producer Chippy flashed the gold graph. It is about, what, it was about a 2,000-ish gold lead for Gentle Hearts. All their gold lead is basically in PCL, as you can see, over 2,000 up over Dragoon at this current point.
Yeah, there's a minor gold lead there for Cross as well in the Rek'Sai. So that is something to have, but that is not really enough when Brand already has Leandries. You're going to be starting to hit pretty hard with Brand here, and Clyde looking for a hook.
Oh, almost finds out to Array. Daption dodges out on the would-be hook. It looks like Gentle Hearts are trying to play pretty harshly for this Rift Herald, daring the Goons to step into it, but they seem to be wanting to just give it away.
I think that's the right call, right? Senna will just continue to scale. Ornn will be relevant. And you do have Brand, who is just going to continue to power farm here. Things are not in any real dire state, but it can be if you keep taking these rough fights. Gentle Hearts trying to bait him into it, not successful, and that does mean, though, they will get the Rift Herald, and maybe that tower gold can propel them into a little bit of a snowball.
Looks like they're going all out onto Sudsy, though, who does get just immediately popped there. Clyde finds the angle. They get Devin his first kill of the game. So really smart map awareness here from Gentle Hearts across the board, because PCL also dodged the 3-man escapade down.
Yeah, they do lose a tower on the bot side that Dragoon is just continuing to push. Now PCL.
Here comes the Ornhorn. The Flash does still get the knock-up. That's at least a key summoner off the guy with the only bounty in the game currently, but that does mean this Rift Herald will crash. That's a tier 2 turret, Thousand Eyes.
Yep. And that's money going to the Zeri as well. So that is a huge win, and they're just going to drive away with him. Shelly will not be giving any gold anytime soon, and now Devin does get a chance to back and go into a pretty solid position here where they needed the money going over into the Zeri's pocket. They now have it, and maybe Devin can start to become relevant in these fights.
Yeah, Zhao Danny's been able to actually reclaim the CS difference that was starting to get pretty massive in that mid lane by catching these side lane waves. Should be close to an Archangel staff, which will be so pivotal for the burst ability of this Dragoon's Goons composition. And this is what Gentle Hearts' games have been. It's when they're playing opponents you expect them to beat up on, you get to the mid game and it's still close and you're like, why is this close? But now they're at games where they're against opponents they're not supposed to be winning against, and they're close and they might even be winning it. As PCL once again traps Sudsy in an X-Tank ultimatum, the clones are out, but Sudsy's going to have to use his really smart distorts here to stall out an eventual death that PCL will claim. They also find a Ray with Zhao Danny. Gentle Hearts Gaming.
Yeah, and that was really smartly played too. They moved on the map very well. PCL went in early, made it look like, okay, cool, we just go in on this LeBlanc and I'm gonna act like I think it's a 1v1. Senna was waiting there, saw PCL move up, and Senna just moved up just enough for when the rest of the team shows up, it's like, but I had 3 people waiting in the wings this whole time to actually capitalize on this. And not only with that do they get the LeBlanc kill, but they get Senna sleeping as well.
I gotta give you credit, Thousand Eyes. Gentle Hearts are playing exactly how you expected them to try and get back in this game and now lead. They are doing what I like to call the good-fashioned SLS, side lane supremacy. Well, I'm going to have to eat my words here. They're going for a play mid. The flash knock up into the hook here from Clyde. Will not let the Ensemble form come out. Devin pops the lightning crash as well to try and trade out a Ray, but Kizno's Pyroclasm will find Cross as well. Gentle Hearts do have control of the mid lane with a turret in Iron.
Yeah, so it is a 1-for-1, but it's a 1-for-1 that's still a loss for Dragoon's Goons because the wave control is going back over. Clyde hits another hook.
Yeah, but it's onto a Ray, which means an automatic kill. The turret won't fall. The trade will come out here for Kizno, but once again, that seems like a positive trade for GHD.
Yeah, it is one of the damage dealers going down. Dragoon does get free time on this top lane tower. It's getting set back into the game, but getting set back into the game does not feel like enough at this point here. Gentle Hearts still very much in control. Now, what does become interesting now is when we start to get to these objectives when it's full 5v5. We have seen Gentle Hearts play the map really smart, but these objectives are going to force these teams to go toe-to-toe full on, and that might not be exactly how GHG want to play this. When the Ornn ult is ready and the Brand ult is coming back and set, ready to move down for Dragon, this could be a very explosive fight, and I think it's one that can favor Dragoon's Goons unless there's a pick set up ahead of time.
The classic battle of competitive League of Legends games. Which team can play the side lanes better? Which team can play the 5v5 better? Usually when one can claim either side, you have a very fun game. And how special is it that this is all just happening in game number 1? We are guaranteed another match between these two.
Yeah, I mean, already game number 1. And the thing is, it's not like, it's still close. I know we've said like Gentle Hearts are very much ahead, but Gentle Hearts have been considered the weaker team just going into this already. So there's already a little bit of like, oh, well, they could mess it up, right? But there's also just the fact that this composition has faults. It has weaknesses that we can see Dragoon's Goons take advantage of. They're not going to be going for that dragon, which is a huge win for Gentle Hearts. It's another fight they can kind of just avoid and look for these picks and continue to play skirmishy. But Dragoon's Goons, they are going to have to keep their eyes on the timer here and also keep their eyes on the Baron as well.
Yeah, I think that was great recognition as well, that Dragoon's Goons' comp, one of their flaws is they are not a very fast Baron take team. That's what happens when you pick
Yeah.
a Senna in the marksman role. So you knew that despite the fact you gave up top river control, it wasn't an actual threat that the Baron would go down. The Dragon was free, and in a very close game, objective-wise, they now have a slight edge in that Dragon stacking. It's an Ocean Soul as well, Thousand Eyes, just such a pivotal one.
Yeah, nobody wants to be giving away the Ocean Soul either direction here. Now, granted, we are 3 dragons in, and there's only 2 on Gentle Hearts, so I don't think we're likely to see an Elder Dragon here. I think if we're seeing Elder Dragon, this is kind of going to be perfect PCL territory here. Is now Dragoon trying to go for the fight. Oh, no.
Drops the W early. That's the big bang with Set's kit here. PCL knows it, but still playing this one cautiously because he knows he has first roam with Cross coming over here. The Rex size ability to get across the Rift early is so powerful. The W is dropped, but that is just too easy of a kill. PCL's patience proves pivotal.
Not only that, but they're also getting control in the mid lane here while Devin is going to be getting out of dodge. There's a full fight happening.
Yeah, Sunsy doesn't find the chain in the background to pop Devin, which means Dapson's left to the cold. The Weaver's Wall was so well placed from Zhao Danny, and now PCL's looking for more. Jumps in with the Hextech ultimatum onto Kizno. An instant double to Zhao Danny. Flashing forward is Zhao Danny. A triple, a quadra kill. Gentle Hearts Gaming, Ace and Baron in game 1.
Gentle Hearts just playing the map perfectly. They go for the fight down on the bot side. You have 2 people in Cross and PCL. It looks like an opportunity for Dragoon's Goons to fight 4v3 in the mid lane, but the Talia wall placed perfectly by Zhao Danny just cuts off all of Dragoon's Goons while they grab Daption, get the kill, and from that point on, it gave all the time for PCL to walk back up, show up to that fight, and just turn it. It went from a 4v3 one way to a 4v3 the other way in almost an instant. And with that, they get the ace, they get the Baron, and again, that's another objective where Dragoon's Goons cannot team fight around now. They have lost their team fight opportunities because they've been losing the skirmishes before the team fights can even start.
Thousand Eyes, I'm half convinced that there is 2 PCLs in this game because he wins skirmishes in bot lane, and then he somehow, I know it's teleport, like, guys, I'm not that silly, but, like, the fact that he's been able to be at every major skirmish in these side lanes and then pop in for the pivotal fight win, it's just been a masterclass from a veteran.
I mean, that is, the top laner has the most KP in the game. Like, yeah. Usually that's a concerning thing, but it's a really good thing for PCL, and Zhao Danny grabs another kill. We're spreading the KP around a little bit more.
Yeah, Clyde is really starting to work with his Blitzcrank. We were certainly both critical of it for good reasons from that draft, but like we mentioned, if you hit the hooks onto the priority targets, it does not matter.
All is well.
All is well. The Old Horn is going to come out here from Daption as Kizno is moving over. They still have a lot of good DPS. Kizno going to drop the Pyroclasm, but the hook lands onto Kizno. Clyde's at it again into the seismic shove. The combo is just too clean, and now the rest of Dragoon's Goods have to bail out. But here comes Devin flashing forward. The Lightning Crash won't let Array escape, and the Weaver's Wall for Zhao Danny traps Daption in. He'll try to smash through it, but all he can do is flash away. Clyde's hook will go wide, but this might just be the game. Gentle Hearts with a punch to the mouth of the #1 seed in all of the qualifiers.
Yeah, Sunsy gonna have to make a miracle happen here, and Clyde and Devin are low health, but I don't think they can stop the wave that is Gentle Hearts Gaming.
And of course, it's PCL to find the last kill and take the Nexus. What a start. GHG go up 1-0 over Dragoon's Goons.
And for all the time in that game where we said, like, okay, Gentle Hearts have a lead and they feel like they're strong, it felt like just once that Baron fight happened, just everything imploded. It was just money abound for Gentle Hearts. They get the Baron, they back, they have full control there. And Ornhorn gone wrong. The Orn ult did not land. It was honestly really early, did not have the follow-up needed, even though it did hit multiple people. And because of that, well, you just kind of lost all ability to fight here. They pushed out too far, and Gentle Hearts just took the advantage and shoved it home.
I think it just shows so much that when teams are able to play comps that aren't, oh yeah, we just need to win the 5v5. Because when you think about the game of League, that is the most simplistic way to win the game, is we are going to draft a team that can win the 5v5 and just push out and win the game. No, this game was a masterclass in side lane manipulation and numbers advantage in a skirmish. And the fact that a team that does have some veteran voices in there, but is mostly a pretty young core, is doing that against the consensus #1 seed in the qualifiers. we may have a dark horse on our hands, Thousand Eyes.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it was played really well, and kind of like you said, the fact that it is the quote unquote lower weaker team that is playing the non-standard kind of team, and going for that split push, recognize not just that, but also recognizing like, okay, they wanted Zeri to be able to get ahead, right? Like they wanted to be able to snowball Zeri out of control. That's the obvious answer from a composition built like that. But the fact that they did get that Camille so strong and immediately said, okay, that's our win con. We have to shift. We're not over indexing into the Zeri and trying to be like, okay, now you give your money over to Zeri. It was like, no, we just run with the Camille and we make things happen across the map. And that just opened everything for Gentle Hearts. A really smart adaptation mid game.
And it opens them up to the biggest upset of the entire qualifiers, potentially. It's not over just yet. It is a best of 3, true fearless format. So just want to remind everybody before we go on to break, all 10 of those champions you just watched with Summoner's Rift, we will not be seeing for the rest of this series. A lot of pressure on Dragoon's Goons here to respond. After our intermission break here, we'll come back to Game 2 draft to see where their head's at, where their side selection's coming. But the important thing is more League of Legends is coming at your way here on the Salt Mine Pod, so don't go anywhere.
go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go! Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Come on, everybody, bring it in. Let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Salt Mine Pod's continued coverage of the NACL qualifiers as we have a potentially upset territory on our hands. We're kicking off the Game 2 draft after Gentle Hearts Gaming took the first game of the GSL stages off Dragoon's Goons, and the Goons, once again, Thousand Eyes, want red side.
I'm very surprised by it. I honestly thought maybe, okay, they took the loss, they maybe move over to blue side after that. Like, all right, cool. We tried our thing, didn't work. The counter pick that we picked just was not it. And maybe just try to go to the blue side. But no, they're going to continue to stay on red side. And now, like you said, Dragoon's Goons backs against the wall. This will put them in the loser bracket. It is not kicking them out if they lose this, but it does put them just, you lose another series and you're done. And for a team as strong as this, you do not want to be in that position. So Dragoon's Goons do need to pull out all the stops here to take us to a game 3.
Yeah, and we see pretty similar bands so far through this stage. Actually, the exact same bands from both of these
Yeah.
sides here. Gentle Hearts take away the Kingdred, Corki, and looks to be the Nautilus, and then the Rumble, Tristana. And if we're sticking to the same things, it's going to be Ash.
Yep.
So with the 10 champions from last game already taken away, we're sticking with the same bands. I'm feeling like Thousand Eyes, we're getting a pretty creative draft from one of these sides.
I mean, it also does mean we're getting 10 new champions, right? And
Yeah.
Varus being picked up makes a lot of sense. Varus has been pretty darn strong. Also has flexibility to be able to go on hit or go for the lethality. So kind of falling back on that, where a lot of other options have been taken off the board in the Ashe and the Corki. Ezreal has always just been a staple. So you kind of just like, all right, cool. We have very little options. Ezreal, easy. Grab that one, and the Maokai as well. So a lot of flashbacks to, I think, previous strong patches here, where Maokai used to be that #1 support and has fallen in favor a lot since his nerfs.
Yeah, still some flexibility there where you want to throw the tree. We don't see very much flexibility from the Gentle Heart side, but I'm always a big fan of this concept. It's going to get locked in here. If you're going to lock in Vi, you have to pair her with a mid lane champion that synergizes perfectly.
Yes.
Ari is the S tier one in my mind with Vi. So this is a great draft from Gentle Hearts Gaming already, as we now know the Maokai for Dragoon's Goons is going to be likely going into that jungle.
Yeah, and there's also just there's the possibility either way of just like you can you can vial in Ezreal and he can shift away and you will follow him. The question really becomes, is that really advantageous for you or is it not? But there is that possibility there for just catching people off guard here. Now we do see the Leona, which does mean Maokai will not be going into the support role. Maokai probably going to be going up. I've seen a lot of Maokai top, honestly, but even Maokai jungle is still relevant. But I think a lot of other junglers would outpace him at this current state of the game.
Yeah, certainly Vi would, right, as well. But
yeah,
with the Faded Ashes buffs, I've seen a lot of Maokai be prevalent because you can go that Liandry's early, have some damage with the saplings, and then still be a tank threat later on. And Maokai is always there for being that engaged tool with, Twisted Advance and that Nature's Grasp. But we've flown through that second phase of bans here with Dragoon getting targeted, funnily enough, on his two most iconic champions. The Gentle Hearts do not want to see his Mordekaiser, don't want to see his Darius in this potential series clinching match.
Yeah, and I do like Dragoon's Goons going for the Azir pick here, as they will be just locking in that mid lane, but they're keeping that Maokai flexible. Can go in jungle, can go in top lane, forcing them to go for the Aatrox up in the top side as a blind top laner, and the Melio, which I have a lot of feelings and opinions on Melio, so we will absolutely get into that. But first, we have Garen locked in for Dragoon up on that top side, looking to just go toe-to-toe. Definitely seems to be feeling a little bit of the pain from that last game and wants revenge.
Yeah, certainly does. Gonna do his best Moose Hater impression in this game with the Garen being brought out here. The Melio, I'll give you some time for your Melio thoughts. I want to hear them. I will say that the one thing that we do know with the Melio locked in, this has to be an on-hit Varus from Devin, or this makes zero sense.
Yes. Generally, yeah. No, I mean, you can work it with the lethality, but you don't really want to. But yeah, I am a huge Melio fan. So I know this champion kind of inside and out. I even peaked around number 18 in North America on Melio. So
okay.
I have a lot of knowledge on this champion, which a lot of people make fun of me for because he's a very simple champion. Regardless, there are some nuances here, and I'm gonna be keeping my eyes open, especially for runes and just build here, because right now what is really strong on Melio is the oh my goodness, why am I blanking on the name of the item?
I'm gonna be honest, support items, there's no way I'm gonna be able to nail it. The Echoes of Hylia.
Yeah, okay. Hylia is just very, very, very strong on Melio because his shield procs the or his damage then stores, which then goes immediately onto the shield. The W just insta procs it consistently. It's a very, very strong item on him.
Very strong item. We'll see if we'll see it from Clyde, because we are getting word we are ready to go to the Familiar Battle Arena. So it's time to go live from Summoner's Rift, Game 2, with Gentle Hearts on the verge of Upset Kingdom. And just like that, hey, we are on to Summoner's Rift. You've seen the runes there from Clyde, Thousand Eyes, so
I need to see the full runes, because I need to know if there's mana flow on this Melio. If there is, I'm gonna be very sad. Can we click on the Melio portrait and get that? There is not a mana flow there, it seems. So I am good. You would see the stack on the bar. So you don't take mana flow on Melio. It sounds conceptually really good until you realize that only his Q procs it.
There you go.
So you don't take that. You don't take Scorch either for the same reason. So a lot of people get baited into that. You want to end up taking Nimbus Cloak and Gathering Storm, and that's gonna get a little better once Belio gets his upcoming changes. But regardless, Belio now just gonna be trying to stay with this Varus, and there's a little bit of capability to trade a little bit here if this Leona is caught out a little bit too far forward.
They get a ward down on the Raptors of Cross. It's another game where Cross should have a bit of early control up against Kisno with the clear speed as Dragoon opts into a not fun trade into PCL. The good old spacing the autos battle is won by Gentle Heart's top laner here.
Yeah, I mean, there is Garen passive. So
hate that passive.
realistically, I mean, look, I do too, but like it does exist. I can't ignore the fact that it exists just because I don't like it. In fact, that probably is why I don't like playing against Garen, because I do forget that passive exists sometimes. Regardless, Garen gonna be trying to trade and heal back up. And this is also what I love to see too from Clyde on the bot side here. Leona is not a champion level 1. You actually have some relevance here to get a lot of autos down, get your passive, even if it's just yourself proccing your passive. You can wear down a little bit of health from this Leona before the level 2 hits, and you have to play a little more careful.
Yeah, they do get some solid damage down. Obviously going to have the sustain advantage as well into a Leona support. Matchup that was pretty rough early in game number 1 was certainly Zhao Danny into Sudsy. So we'll see if that same CS lead will creep up in this one. So far, pretty neutral as we flash bottom lane. And where did Daption's health bar go?
I have to imagine that there was an engage that Daption went for. So if Clyde took Q level 2, then you just really cannot engage on Melio. You're gonna root him, but he's gonna kick you away before you can stun. Now Kisdo is ready though.
Oh, he flashes right over the wall, makes sure to lock down onto Devin. They get the stun chain. Daption very low. The trade from death for Devin throws out the E to make sure there's at least some gold back. First blood to Kisno, but it ends up being a trade.
It does end up being a trade, and I think overall this is still a win for Dragoon's Goons, as PCL is
God,
going
beating
really
up on
hard.
Dragoon here. He has his flash if he needs it.
Ooh.
PCL thinking about a dive, doesn't hit the Q1. The turret aggro does drop onto PCL, so he should be fine for now. All these lanes are just low health bars right now.
Yeah. I do want to just go over that bot side there, though. The fact that it is Maokai that gets the first blood versus Varus getting a kill in that trade is actually pretty nice. The only thing that really does suck about that trade for Gentle Hearts is the fact that Devin does miss farm for that. You take that part away, and honestly, kind of fine with that trade. Varus getting money means that bot lane can become more relevant sooner, whereas you usually would have that weak point where Ezreal and Leona could kind of just poke you out, and Varus and Melio aren't strong enough to go toe-to-toe yet. Now, little bit of a gold advantage over this Ezreal.
Yeah, it's partially as well because PCL, recognizing he's into a teleportless Garen, is doing his best to completely freeze this wave. Obviously, Dragoon will be able to approach it back up. As you can see, his health bar is pretty healthy now thanks to that very silly Garen passive. But still the edge to PCL, especially if Cross shows up.
Oh,
He doesn't know.
see.
Yeah, he walks right into a Vault Breaker. He's holding his flash. Gotta think he's going to expend it, and he will. Now the teleportless top laner is down his key summoner thanks to Cross.
Yeah, and the wave's also just in a rough spot too. Dragoon just has no way to walk back up there. And on top of that, you can see Kisdo is on the bot side and has to back. So there's just no way to help Dragoon. That wave will just be in a bad spot, and Kisdo cannot bail out Dragoon from this. PCL, again, playing this top side really well, albeit this time with, I think, a little bit more help.
Yeah. Helps. It's a team game, as I always have to tell my
Yeah.
solo teammates when they get ganked. That you are in fact playing.
To be.
Yeah, yeah. So Cross, we expected him though to be a bit more effective, like we talked about on that Vi, and he has had some impact. Dapson though looking pretty good on
did
the
it early
slide here. It did do the kickball a bit early, but they just out-sustain this lane right now. Not enough damage from Array, and he's gonna actually have to arcade shift his way out.
Yeah, I mean, Varus is already kind of decent just in his kit at this point in the game, and especially when you add in the fact that Array has a tier, not a sheet. So this Ezreal's not really hitting as hard as you would want. Daption able to get in, but just cannot get the help from Array, and that does mean that Leona does have to back. Now Devin and Clyde, again, control over this lane, and Array just has to sit here and farm from a distance.
Yeah, Danny brings out the Spirit Rush. Doesn't hit the Charm, though. So no further engage. There's the World Ender out for PCL here. Dragoon is flashless, remember, doesn't even have the ultimate, so this is all PCL, and this feels like a given solo Q. Dodges the Q2, but not the Q3. PCL, another solo kill, back-to-back games, has the edge over Dragoon.
PCL just has Dragoon's number today, and that is twice now in 2 different games that we have seen this solo kill. PCL taking down Dragoon, and Dragoon taking the Ignite in this matchup, like we've said multiple times. You take that if you think you're going to win. PCL gets it without the Ignite, has the TP, and with that, Dragoon can't get back to the lane. He's gonna miss more farm. It is 57-23. What happened with the smite? Cross.
Cross just gifted Dragon to Dragoon's Goons.
What?
Oh, Daption is...
What?
You should go buy a lottery ticket that he got gifted that one. 9 HP is all you need on Leona to secure Dragon.
All right, guys. Let's... I get it. I think Cross was like, oh, I gotta make sure I hit this smite perfectly. And in those situations, when the jungler's not really around there, you can just take it easy. You can just let it go to like 500 HP and smite it then, and avoid something like that happening. Does just really... It takes a little bit of the wind out of the sails, especially because now Kisno and Dragoon just get to walk up here and take these grubs. All of a sudden, Dragoon's Goons find their footing again.
Yep, they pick up both early objectives. Still is about nearly double, not nearly, close to double CS lead here for PCL, as he's got that wave pretty well.
It's going to be double when he walks up top lane, because Dragoon has to walk the long way.
Oh, man. So the gold lead is still present there for GHD, but not by much. As you can see, some slight gold fixtures swinging towards Kisno. Grab that first blood. It's Sudsy as well with another slight CS lead.
Yeah, and I think what is interesting now, so we do have Array on the bot side, does have that Sheen ready to go. You have the triple longsword from Devin alongside the tier 2 boots, which does make Varus a bit of a threat here.
That's Shades of Corruption down. Daption gonna take up a ton of it, but that piercing arrow does so much damage. Daption just cannot survive it. Array looking for the trade, but Clyde's gonna try and block. The auto is gonna be enough. Array finds the trade. Support for AD carry.
Clyde.
Out some gold into this Ezreal, as Clyde does not win that trade any day.
Yeah, a little bit of an over-index into that Leota there. They don't get the win on that. They do grab the kill, but they just trade so much health in the process. Clyde used the heal, used the ult, and by the time all of that was used, there was nothing left, and Array was just free hitting for that entire time. It looked like it was like, cool, we get the advantage in terms of we just grabbed the kill first, but it does mean it is a support for an AD carry, and Dragoon's Goon's happy with that trade.
Now they're going after Dragoon over the wall into the cease and desist. What a combo for Cross to find the kill. Kisno just a little too late with the twisted advance, has to watch his top laner drop. There's no response to be had. It's once again PCL getting the gold lead needed.
Yeah, Kisno was not prepared for the flash over the wall there to go for the engage, to just Cross, just jumping across and grabbing that Garen, getting the kill, and the fact that the root was not hit on the person tanking the tower and the wave was there. Just easy grab, go, and escape for GHG, and GHG again looking pretty good this game.
They're playing with the confidence, Thousand Eyes, of a team destined to reach the highest mark this organization has ever been in. They have been to the GSL stage. They have never made the quarterfinals. They have never made a top 8 finish in the qualifiers. The way they're playing, it feels inevitable.
It definitely feels strong, and I mean, Dragoon is kind of just out of this game, and you can see the desperation is starting to hit because they've moved Dragoon to the mid lane now. They've said PCL is just too strong. Sudsy, your range, you can just kind of stay at a distance here. I'm gonna go there, try and farm a little bit against this Ahri. Things are not looking great. Dragoon just kind of feels a little bit out of this game, especially because it's not like last game where he was on set and he fell behind. You still have your W, you still have your ult, you still have the E. Set has things that bring relevance to a team, even if you have no gold. Garen really does not. Garen from behind just feels very lackluster, and I don't know what the response is going to be for the rest of this game if Dragoon cannot find some way back in.
Well, the response now is to get aggressive towards this bot side with this second Drake coming up in about 45 seconds, trying to get some vision down, but Cross is still nearby. Keep in mind, though, you got Unleashed Teleports available, and PCL will always have that advantage. So if something gets really hectic towards this pit, Gentle Hearts
They've
can
not
pull the
seen
man
Cross.
advantage.
They do not have vision on Cross here. He has not been seen just yet, I don't think. They are very much like kind of aware.
Oh.
But Cross has snuck his way in. Oh, did he get into the bush? That he did. Oh my goodness. They have an idea. They're pinging the bush like they know something is there, but Cross is going to be looking for this fight.
Yeah, finally gets spot on the ward. He's going to jump onto Daption, drops the whole combo down. Daption able to flash away. Here comes the Twisted Advance forward. Teleport down as well from both solo laners. As Clyde gets chunked really low with Breath of Life, keeps him up. Kizdo's going to fall. Zhao Danny unleashed, hits the charm. Array is going to have to immediately cleanse it, but will it save him long enough? The turret aggro is dropped onto Cross, but he stays safe. Here comes Sudsy. The Stream and Shuffle only finds one onto Devin, but there's no damage left. Can Devin run out away from Sudsy? That becomes the final question. The Sand Soldiers will come forward, and Sudsy's going to bail out Dragoon's Goons from a disaster.
Oh, and things just went horribly wrong there. The engage looked really good, but again, it's on the Leona. They're not getting on to the real threats of this team, and Ezreal gets to back away and put out damage for that entire fight. They grab the Leona. The ult from Clyde also felt very late there. By the time the ult came through, it was just barely getting out, and Emilio could not really engage with the fight any longer. The fight just keeps dragging out. Sudsy shows up in a perfect Shurima shuffle to get some people, trade things back a little bit, and with that advantage, they're now going to be able to move down onto the bot side too.
Yeah, the dive onto Zhao Danny successful. That's a shutdown over for Sudsy, and the teleport for PCL got canceled by the silence of Dragoon. Question becomes, will he pay for it with his life? It doesn't seem like it.
Oh, so, all right, we went over. Set has a lot more utility, but Garen does have a silence. And the silence came in clutch there, because if that TP goes through, PCL is full health, running down the two members, the Leona and the Azir from Dragoon's Goons, and actually came in clutch there. They get the dragon. That is 2 dragons given over to Dragoon's Goons, despite their bit of a struggle in the early game here. And now they're also getting a lot of plates into Sudsy. 3-0 on this Azir, a very strong Azir going into the mid game.
This is one of Sudsy's pocket champions that he is so well known for. And like Vince, you see the gold lead up of nearly about 15,000 gold to his lane counterpart in Azir scaling.
15,000. Oh,
Sorry, 1,500. My God, if this game be over if it was 15,000.
he cashed out. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I was gonna say. But yeah, I mean, 1,500. That's an item, and that's half an item right there. And you can see that already in the Haunted Guys being built. Will be relevant too. As things start to spread out, we're going to start to see towers fall as we've seen the tower plates go off. Now, the question becomes, can this Vi still stay relevant? Can the Vi and the Ahri continue to make dives and get that advantage that we have seen so far when the lines are not as clear? Once towers go down, all right, it's not super clear where the teams are going to think they're safe and where they're actually safe. Gentle Hearts need to be able to figure that out themselves here, as they are watching the map start to darken on both sides.
Enemy jungle for the Goons is pretty bright. They spotted Cross coming down a fair ways away. A lot of wards onto Cross's bot side jungle. Excuse me. As that first turret will still fall to the minions. There's another gold injection. But this one is, once again, pretty darn close heading into that mid game.
Yeah, Corrupting Chain's not hitting from Devin, which does mean that fight does not go anywhere. And it is just a clean tower take from Array and Daption. They get to back. Mid lane also continuing to get pelted on by this Azir, and Zhao Danny cannot really push Azir away just yet. Now, with towers down, Emilio will be able to run him around just a little bit. Also interesting to see Clyde is going for the Moonstone, which I also think is a solid first item for Emilio. I'm just a little surprised because I think Healy is just really good.
Certainly made that decision. Thinking about, I would assume the shielding and healing the extra Clyde can get.
It is big. It is really big. You'll see very big shields from this Emilio now.
Well, They might need him here as they're trying to check for this Rift Herald take, but it's going to be dropped way too low. Kizno will pick that one up. Gentle Hearts Gaming a little too late to the party, but they're still hanging around looking for stragglers. PCL is going to get engaged on. They're going to try and just jump onto this Aatrox. Can he heal through it all? The Velio is doing a ton, but look who they've left off on the side. It's Sudsy that's an escape from all of GHG.
Oh, no.
Cross will flash to get that big shutdown. And now it's Freaky Friday. Each team's on the wrong side of Summoner's Rift. Somebody's going to have to fight their way out. Zhao Danny has 2 charges of the Spirit Rush left up, but they won't be up for much longer. That ult will drop off. Daption Solar Flare will not find a stun, but does find the root down onto Zhao Danny. But there's not enough damage for Dragoon. Kizno's going to go forward. Array will find it, but Cross will trade out to Daption support over the wall. We'll be able to get on top of Kizno, who wins the jungler duel. Cross getting eaten alive by the saplings of the Leandries. Kizno will find it, and there's nowhere for Devin and Clyde to go because Array is hunting them, hitting the W's. The Essence Flux coming through massively for the Goons AD carry, looking for the Arcane Shift. There he goes forward, a killing spree. Give him a double. Array is taking over game 2. He's not going home without a series win.
That whole early fight seemed really great there. You trade PCL for the Azir with the shutdown, and on paper, that seems great. Until you look at the rest of your team, and it is Vi, Ahri, Melio, Varus. There is not really enough frontline there, because that is a Vi with Sundered Sky built first. So there is very little tank stats there versus, okay, we lost Azir, but we have Maokai, we have Leona, we have Garen. We have a team that can just run at them, and the Melio ult was already used. You just run them down.
BCL's trying to run down Sudsy, who will prop up his own turn.
Oh,
Look
no.
for the turn here as well. Daption gets the stuns. There's a big heal on the sweet spot for PCL. We'll keep him safe for now. Zhao Danny going to teleport back in. Clyde is flanked around. But how can they get around this Shuriman turret? It's really stunting.
Clyde.
Their 4v2 initiative, and Clyde is the one on the flank. That's not who you want. They're going to gift a kill back to Dragoon, who finally ends up on the board.
I think Clyde thought he was playing Blitzcrank again. I'm not really sure what the plan was for the Melio there, but that was definitely ill-advised, and you can see why, as that is the Chain of Corruption used. And Varus getting rooted.
Daption, what a stun found. Array's got the damage to do it. This Ezreal is just so mean mugging on the Gentle Hearts Gaming team. 6-0-5, and this one's broken open.
Yeah, things feel like they're starting to fall apart a little bit, and where I did going into this have a little bit more doubts on closing out game number 1 for Gentle Hearts. This time I don't have those same problems with Dragoon's Goons, not only from the team but also the composition. Ezreal scales like crazy, Azir scales like crazy, and even though Dragoon was struggling early up on that top side, things have turned back around. The constant skirmishing has worked out really well. And the front to back just is not hitting just yet from Gentle Hearts. They just don't have the same level of front line, and there's a lot of health that Varus has to chew through.
Doesn't have the items to do it yet. He's got a Kraken Slayer. That's about it, though. They will look to go pick off Dragoon, but he does have Phase Rush. There's the cease and desist down. They get the chains, force the flash out. If they're failing to kill off Dragoon in the sides, this game is looking pretty dire for Gentle Hearts.
Yeah, they blew so much for that. World Ender and cease and desist from Cross and PCL, and nothing gained. And where we kind of saw PCL just go crazy with opportunities like that into something like Garen with the Aatrox, it's just not the same. You don't have that same pick potential, and right now Gentle Heart's kind of feeling the pain of that.
They're playing another comp where I feel like they need to play for skirmishes and picks, but when you're down this much cold, and more importantly down so many turrets and so much space, it becomes nearly impossible. And the Goons, knowing it, are going to set up for that all-powerful Purple Bear.
Wait, they're going in now. Clyde again.
Clyde, the Arcane, I mean, the True Shot Barrage does so much damage to a squishy Melio. Clyde is 20% HP. Zhao Danny's getting poked over the wall, has to use the Spirit Rush defensively.
That's
like
between
that
towers.
Yep.
That's between towers. The tower wasn't even done yet, and Dragoon has hit mission critical here. Dragoon is very, very strong on this Garen, and with Sudsy as backup, that'll be another tower gone, tier 2. Giant can't even back in peace, and does mean with all control of the mid and top lane here, they're going to try and go for this Baron. Kizno can tank this pretty easily.
They're on a ward, though, sitting right on top of it, so Gentle Hearts know about this, and NA's all too familiar with Baron throws at every level. But with the move up from Gentle Hearts, the Goons will back off. They know they win a fight, and they're looking for it. Here comes Nature's Grasp down, looking to see who they can grab. Devin trying to outrun it, and the Twisted Roots will fall flat, so at least a stall out on the Baron here for GHG.
Yeah, a little bit over-indexed into that fight, but not a whole lot used. So they use the True Shot, but that's an Ezreal ult. It comes back up. The Maokai ult going down is a little bit rough, but there's not a Dragon coming up for another 2 minutes. And reminder, that is Soul for Dragoon's Goons if they do get it. Off the back of the Leota steal at 9 HP. I don't want to forget that. That happened in this game, and Daption putting his team in a very solid position to maybe get a Soul where they absolutely should not have.
Yeah, Infernal Soul on an Ezreal and Azir is scary. So
pretty good.
I'm glad you pointed that out. The Daption steal really paying dividends at this point in the game.
Is now kind of just a little bit of a holding pattern here. Dragoon's Goons, I think, just want to wait for this Dragon. They want to keep control of these waves. They want to keep, especially the top and bot lanes here, pushed, and then try to move over to the Dragon once they have those ults back up here. Dragoon looking to catch somebody a little bit off guard, and will have to be Zhao Danny, who's making his way up to the top side.
Has to be very careful. Ahri is pretty slippery, though. Don't think Dragoon has a ton of damage, just outright burst.
Oh no, he's gonna walk right in.
Right into the brush. He's gonna make me eat my words. Has to flash Spirit Rush, but the Demacia Justice spares no fast foxes. His Dragoon is gone onto a killing spree.
The Garen special, right? That's right. Just walk into a bush, Garen's there. Of course he is. He just the fact that much damage was done and then immediately follows with the ult, doesn't matter that the flash and the ult were used from Zhao Danny. Just Ahri off the map, and that's another possible fight here.
Yeah, they're just trapping Devin and Clyde. They walk right into Dragoon's waiting arms. The raised damage is bonkers by this point. He goes godlike. Looks like Thousand Eyes. We are going the distance here if this game holds.
Absolutely, and I mean, hey, Gentle Hearts fans, that's exactly where you want to be, right? That's where they were last week, and they came out on top. So history says it should be Gentle Hearts' favorite in game number 3. But regardless, game number 2 right now looking very much in favor of Dragoon's Goons. They get the Baron off of a lot of really good picks, and just kind of catching a little bit of lackadaisical movement into the lanes here. Now, while they did that, Dragon did spawn. Crosses here, but not the whole team. Zhao Danny is up top, has TP, as does PCL, who's backing now. But because they are backing now, they don't have control of this Dragon, and it does mean the Dragoon's Goons can just start it straight up.
That could be a hero steal here from Cross if Daption and Suddenly
He's got to go for it, too.
He's going in and way too early, and that was a simple trap. The Cross just had to take given the game state. There's the Infernal Soul secured. 24 minutes for the Goons. And with 5 strong, wearing the purple banner, time to just march on the GHG base.
One would imagine here. They also do have the Maokai ult going now.
Yep, Nature's Grasp dropping down. Devin having to flash
Oh,
away.
Devin.
Will hunt him, still gets rooted, and Kisdo will find the kill. The True Shot Barrage scraping across the 2 squishy members of Zhao Danny and Clyde. PCL will get 1 trade, but the rest have to head for the fountain, and the base soon to be broken open in the name of the Goons.
Yeah, that is both of the inhibitor towers down here in the mid and the bot side. The inhibitors will fall next, and they have Cross back up, but they do not have Devin and PCL for a while. They may try to go for an end.
Yep, Cross is going to go in. He's going to try for a last endeavor of the Sudsea, but he gets rooted, locked down by Kisno. The Nexus turrets are falling next. Just like all game, nobody can get to Array, and he just rips through Gentle Hearts Gaming. This is what the #1 seed looks like all through Swiss. The Dragoon's Goons as advertised, and they'll force a do-or-die game 3 with a top 8 spot on the line.
Well played by Dragoon's Goons. A bit of a rough start this time around, but the roams from Sudsea, the fact that all of these engages ended up, going way back. They engaged so much on the Leona. and trying to get something out of that just never worked. It was free hits for Ezreal, Azir in all of those fights, and that snowballed out of control. And once they even finally started to grab the Azir, it was too little too late. Not enough damage on your carries, and that front line is just raring, ready to go to run you down after the fight. So Dragoon's Goons, I I want to say they definitely did earn that, but there was definitely a lot Gentle Hearts did that gave them the opportunity to take that game away.
Yeah, I mean, that game was the kill lead was in the hand of Gentle Hearts in the early game. They got 6 of their 9 kills in that phase. They certainly had a footing on that game number 2, and they obviously won in game number 1. So we're still on upset watch here as Gentle Hearts Gaming hunt their highest finish in qualifiers in organizational history. And Dragoon's Goons looking to get away with a win here in the series, not let the pressure get to them. Only 1 or 2 of those are a reality coming here for our game 3. Gentle Hearts will have side selection. We'll see where they'll go. We have 20 champions off the board now as well. So much rearing up for a very fun game 3 that you won't want to miss.
Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go! Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Come on, everybody, bring it in. Let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go.
Boy, oh boy, what a fun finish we are cruising into here with the Salt Mine Pod's coverage of Group B winners. Shot at top 8 on the line for one of our two squads, Gentle Hearts Gaming versus Dragoons Goons. We're into draft. 20 champions are already off the board. And we have our third straight game of GHG blue side, Dragoons Goons red side, Thousand Eyes.
Nothing has changed throughout. The only thing that has changed has been that we are just gonna have brand new champs again, apparently, because we are banning out the same thing we have every single time. And honestly, I thought maybe there's a chance we let some things through, because yeah, all right, cool. We don't want to let them have these champions, but also we're hitting silly territory in what we're gonna be able to pick.
100%, especially marksman, right? Like, because we've been banning away Cork. Oh, do we have a switch? Aurelian Soul could be a ban.
Yeah, that's
If we
yeah,
stick
that's
with
a different one. The Nautilus is available.
Nautilus is available, so maybe they want Clyde to go. I would say his most played champion here. Does that switch the bans for Dragoons Goons? No, they'll still ban the Ash away. So the quick point I want to make, Thousand Eyes, this really just pinches the marksman pool, especially.
Yeah, it really does. And it does now mean so Nautilus will be available. That is the only one that gets through that's different this time around. It would be very funny if it just does not get picked. But regardless, right now the Oriana locked in for Gentle Hearts, which is just a solid standard first pick here, can pretty much fit into most compositions. The Jinx picked for Dragoons Goons, probably honestly the next best in line. Jinx just still, while was very, very strong for a bit, has fallen a little bit. I think still very strong, just very snowbally is the problem.
Yeah, well, speaking of snowballing, I mean, you could say similar things about Aphelios. This is certainly weird because I got to know Array by his Aphelios play, and now he's going to be playing against an Aphelios in this match, so that's very interesting. I'm going to bring up my same arguments about Vi with Nocturne as last time. If you're going to pick Nocturne, I'd like you to pick a good mid pairing. And Zhao Danny and Cross have done it once again. This time they'll be going for the good old-fashioned ball delivery system in the dark.
Yeah, which is a very classic. So, and on something as a mobile as a Jinx as well, the opportunity generally does present itself, and the Hui as well. So both of those backline champions are going to be available to hit with this if they play it right. The Aphelios also just is that late game insurance as well for Gentle Hearts. Meanwhile, Cassante being picked up, which is Dragoon's most played currently in solo queue. So Dragoon finally getting the chance to pick up that comfort champion for himself in this final game.
Yeah, safest champion he's picked as well too, right? The set, it can get exploited. We saw it was exploited. The Garen was exploited pretty early as well. Cassante kind of just absorbs pressure and kind of shrugs it off. Down and just farm out, and then, be a factor in the team fights later. We've got through that second phase of bans, though. People getting targeted this time round. We do see a TF and a Gwen ban, which are pretty intriguing given we know this Cassante is topside, but they are flexible. Oh, I'm getting switched. Yeah, these make a lot of sense because PCL hasn't picked a champion yet. I
right.
Fog brain.
Yeah. It's all right. It's all right. We are 3 games deep into Fearless. The Olaf hover is a little silly, especially
Blind?
considering what we have seen picked. Yeah, it is blind. Well, it's not blind.
Not blind.
It's not blind, but also into something like Sejuani, like Hui or Cassante, which have a lot of crowd control. Olaf being able to just run by, and the Nautilus that has been banned will be locked in before Dragoons Goons can get their hands on it. The Thresh hover would be interesting. Thresh has been a little bit behind the ball in terms of most support matchups as of late, but it will give Jinx an opportunity to get out of some sticky situations that the Nocturne tries to create.
Yeah, that is the timeless pairing for Jinx. Like, how long has Jinx Thresh been a pairing? At this point, like 6 years, 7 years, you could argue.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense. It is funny that the Nautilus got through only to be B5'd. It wasn't even B1'd. It gets all the way through, and then Clyde still ends up landing on it. But I'm really glad you pointed out this Olaf because PCL took game 1 over, and with all the crowd control, even with the Thresh locked in too now, right? The peel ability of Thresh, PCL could just ignore all of this. If he slams lane in the 1v1 against Dragoon again, he might win this series almost on his own.
I mean, that is kind of the scary thing, right? Like, if Dragoon gets what is his at least by stats wise, his most comfortable champion here. It's a little concerning if just you're getting run down once again. And granted, it is into an Olaf, which Olaf is made to win, but like you have to know how to play safe in those kinds of matchups. And honestly, I am a little concerned. I think in a vacuum, Dragoon's Goons composition is very solid. I think the problem is that there are responses from GHG on the other side there. The Nocturne Orianna is crazy. The Olaf can just go wild in the back line there. There's no real way to keep Jinx and Hui out of danger.
Yeah, and there's a lot of ways to get to them. So
yeah,
we'll see which one can prevail, the front line with the 2 scaling threats or the dive ability of Gentle Hearts Gaming's comp. It's time to find out if we do have that upset that I've been teeing up for so long that the golf tee's probably all the way up to my knees by this point. Top 8 for Gentle Hearts on the line, or Dragoon's Goons getting to where they were expected to be in those quarterfinals. Let's jump onto Summoner's Rift to see exactly how this story ends. And the chapter we're on starts with potentially some level 1 shenanigans finally, Thousand Eyes.
Possibly. I'm like, you started saying that like I was being read like a story. Like like a bedtime story. Like in the chapter that we're on. Like
yeah.
A little bit of checking. Obviously Nautilus can go a little bit silly with the hook here. And Array is trying to be aware of it. Does see the axe. Oh, gets hooked.
Bends around the wall. Array is hooked, but the Lantern level 1 taken by Daption is going to save it. That's why all you folks watching at home in solo, you don't automatically start the ability. You're supposed to start level 1 because you might need a different one for an invade.
Does get Array out, and most importantly, keeps summoner spells up. It is a very rough early for Daption now, having to start the Lantern, but it does mean that we do avoid a flash being burned, and flashes do need to stay up here. That way Jinx can be a little bit safer as things go on, because not only is the Nocturne a threat, but just the Nautilus in the early game will be relevant. Cross is going to be starting auto ward here on this top side, so they are going to be aware of the pathing for Cross, and likely expecting some full clear action from Cross. Meanwhile, his no might be a little bit more active here.
Here we go. This is how Olaf plays from level 1 on. If I'm hitting axes, I am looking for a kill, and Dragoon is getting desperately low once more. But PCL does not have flash, so can't flash to grab the axe and try and pick up that solo kill. Like you said, 1,000 Eyes, Olaf is made to win, and PCL wins the first trade topside.
Yeah, and unfortunately, things just don't get easier. things are just gonna get worse before they get better for Dragoon. Dragoon's kind of just hopefully trying to like not die very often in the lane and make sure that the team fights go well there. If that can happen, then we obviously have seen what Cassante is capable of doing, but Dragoon holding his own right now. Been trading pretty decently, all things considered.
Yeah. In mind though, Olaf heals more the lower he gets, so still got to be real careful. Does get the level advantage, though. Is looking for the trade that goes pop for PCL. He's getting pretty low. Maybe not enough to heal through, and Dragoon gets his revenge in the biggest of games of the series. First blood to GG.
That is honestly not what I was expecting there. PCL just not prepared for what we know Cassante is capable of, and Dragoon showing the comfort on Cassante there to show up big there. Exactly what it was needed. Game 1 and 2 went a little rough, but now finally the first 1v1 goes in favor of Dragoon in game number 3.
I love this vibe from 2000 IZ. Immediately rushes some heal cut just to make sure to nerf any more exchanges with this Olaf going forward, because that's what really gets him when you go into 1v1 with Olaf, right? Is you think you've got him low enough and the kill's there until he heals about 200 HP out of nowhere. PCL's still fighting like he's got a chance here.
Yeah, Bramble is such a great item here, and it does kind of neutralize a lot here. So Dragoon will be kind of just holding out. Now, as we check in the mid lane here, Sudsy kind of doing a little bit of what we saw in game number 1, where it's just a lot of pressure onto this Orianna and just not letting PCL is going crazy right now.
Yep. And somehow, even despite the fact he gives up first blood, he's at item disadvantage. It does not matter. Olaf finds ways to make these trades close. The question now becomes, does Cross actually stick this back? He's canceled about 5 times, but I think he's going to stick it now with PCL missing that axe. It does mean that Kizno can step up. Okay, we've canceled it back once more. Cross is here, so the junglers are present. No flash reveal for Dragoon. He does get the unstoppable double shove back. Can the fear come across for Cross? It will, so it's a trade of top laners. Now the junglers get to duel it out, but Kizno gets the stun through with the passive, but doesn't have enough damage to push further.
Yeah, so that is trade in terms of just 1-for-1, but it is another fight where Olaf does not get anything. Both the junglers getting a kill. It's 0-2 on the Olaf, and not where you want Olaf to be. Kizno is tanking a lot here, trying to make sure Cross leaves. Yeah, trying to hold the wave and also make sure Cross actually backs away here. Dragoon, again, backs, gets the boots, and I honestly, a kill for Nocturne's not bad. Sejuani obviously not able to do a whole lot with what was left there, but Nocturne definitely will be a little bit stronger once that level 6 hits, and that is kind of the strong point there.
Has that Tiamat too to help clear out those multiple enemy camps, so maybe get to the level 6 a bit quicker. But that, like you mentioned, is the real first burst of just raw pressure that Gentle Hearts will have on this Rift.
As now we're kind of just a little bit at a holding pattern here, because remember, our bot lanes here are scaling. We are basically, yes, they're engaged supports, but there's really not a whole lot of damage built yet. And there's not a whole lot to be gained. Now, interestingly enough, we're seeing Jinx robe up for this top lane fight.
Clyde misses the dredge line. He's probably just spread out to Xiao Denny. He barely flashes out the death sense, but Clyde's just dead. Array roaming with
gets
the
it.
Actually pays off.
Yeah, that is actually really unfortunate. Such a good move from Array to follow along with that and grab the kill. It was very risky. If that didn't work well, Jinx just moves and loses a lot of farm here. But grabs the kill, gets to go up to the top side, and they're just going to send Dragoon down to the bot side here, because Dragoon does not care at this point if he gets a lot of gold or not. He is still Cassante.
One positive for Gentle Hearts with Array's movements is that he gets all that solo time on the plates and the minions. PCL not going to take the bait. Array's trying to throw it down here. There's no way Jinx is just walking up to me in axe range for free. There's got to be somebody waiting around the corner.
Yeah, Cross will be able to move down bot side and grab this dragon. Now, what is Cross's XP at? Because I cannot see that offhand. If Cross gets 6 off of this, there is the possibility of a... Yeah, bot lane is going to get hectic here.
You're a fortune teller, Thousand Eyes. There's the ult, but Kevin was far too low. Dragoon already wins the 1v1.
He doesn't have mana.
And yeah, Cross is out of mana. No combos available. Dragoon, a rough start to the series, but boy, has he come alive when it mattered.
Dragoon just again coming in clutch, and the Aphelios going down is really rough, and now PCL in trouble too.
Pops the Ragnarok, doesn't hit the axe onto Array, who does have flash and barrier available. Doesn't hit the zap. Clyde shows up. There's the barrier down. PCL's out of the Ragnarok, and Kizno is first to roam. Glacial Prison won't land the stun, but the slow should be enough. Kizno picks it up, and this is why Dragoon's Goons were seen as the #1 consensus seed, because of early games like this.
Yeah.
This game 3 is already in dire straits.
Oh, it feels so bad for Gentle Hearts. They had such a good game #1, and game #2 started off decent for them, and now things have just fallen apart minute by minute. And now 5-1, 13.9 to 12.4k. Dragoon has zero, no farm. There's no farm on this Cassante, but his body is enough. He is enough of a threat, and we can see, obviously, Devin, even with the farm advantage, even with the range advantage, Cassante still will do Cassante things.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be seeing more of it as this game goes on. Gentle Hearts, though, they do still have the ability to be playmakers, right? They have that Nocturne Orianna combo onto these pretty immobile champions. Sudsy and Array still have flash for now, but they are all the damage that really is packed into the Dragoon's Goons comp.
Yeah, and it will just now mean that what is the answer for Gentle Hearts, it's trying to make these picks with what their comp can do. It is the Nocturne, it is the Orianna. The fact that the first Nocturne ult went so poorly is a little bit frustrating, and it does kind of nuke your tempo pretty bad, but it still does exist, and we have not seen it with the Orianna. We have not seen the crazy plays possible there, even with the Olaf as well, just being able to pop Ragnarok and run the ball in exactly where it needs to go. There's opportunities abound here, but the Hearts need to be able to do something with that, because right now they are just kind of backs against the wall and they have to find answers.
Certainly do, especially before this front line gets too tanky, that there'll be a problem of their own. Kisno and Dragoon having 2 of those kills, gonna be able to get those tank items going pretty quickly.
Right now we are, honestly, it's kind of another holding pattern until we just see the Nocturne ult. Cross wants to find something, but has to be able to go around this Sejuani, and obviously we've kind of seen that some of these lanes are in a little bit of a rough spot to try and gank. Now we have Dragoon fighting.
Wait,
where
did what just happened?
He R'd.
Oh, he ulted the Ragnarok.
Oh,
yeah. I quite literally
I didn't
thought
know it
that
worked
was
like
a
that.
game-breaking glitch. Like
I
I thought
he disappeared. Oh, I did not know it worked like that.
you got to do something pretty wacky to stun 2 experienced casters like we did
Wow.
tonight. So hats off to Dragoon there to get out of that slippery situation.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. No. That threw me. I thought he just straight up disappeared.
I'm surprised the animation didn't even go through though. It literally just blinked him out.
Yeah. That.
All right, well, you live and you learn. Meanwhile, Krug's gonna be started up here. This would be a 3-for-3 Krug trade, but now Orianna's caught out.
Yeah, the Death Sentence lands, filing despair on the job. Danny slowing him down, but Clyde's gonna play front line. A good
Ooh,
shockwave
shockwave.
onto 2 with a
Oh.
rocket from the side stage. Snipes out Clyde. Array picks up a pivotal 2nd kill on the Jinx.
Yeah, and it's crazy how perfectly set up Array has been. Not that Array has not played well, but it has been everybody putting Array in the right spot at the right time to grab these kills. A perfect Jinx all to grab that kill when Nautilus would have just walked away there, and that's not exactly the easiest to hit either. So perfectly played, and Array now 2-0 essentially for free when you already had kind of that scaling looking to go into that mid game with the Jinx strong. Things look really, really good for Dragoon's Goons.
Over 2,000 gold up. And they've got the gold in the right spots now, like you mentioned. Array is currently on a deathless streak, did not drop in that Ezreal game. This is why a lot of people were confused Array was even in the qualifiers, the level of play this guy brings.
Absolutely, Dragoon. Honestly, I'm very surprised. I did not think Cassante would be able to win this matchup as strong as Dragoon has, especially considering, you know, the farm disadvantage that we've seen. Obviously, PCL is capable of just pressuring really hard. Oh my goodness, Clyde is going hard.
Yep, they're setting a trap. They're going on to Array. They get the knockup with the Gauntlet ult as well. So there goes Array. He falls down, but they do have Devin caught, but he's red-white. He's just
Devin.
stealing through it all. Daption drops. Kisno has to flash out. Finally, Gentle Hearts find the Nocturne engage. They need to find some sort of footing in this game.
And I love that they were willing to put so much into that. Clyde just on a crazy flank using the alcove, flashes in, gets the ult down. Just no way for Array to do anything.
Oh my
PCO
God.
also top lane. Oh no, things are starting to flip again.
Of course, because whenever you think the Olaf
It was too
matchup
simple.
is done, the Olaf just wins a 1v1 off screen. If I had a nickel for every time that happens on a cast, I wouldn't be casting very much more.
This is crazy. Okay, well, PCL just kind of 0-3 takes out the Cassante there.
And like I said, the engage bot side, very well done. The fact they're willing to put so much into it to make sure that kill happened. And now they get a kill into Devin's pocket there. That is a dragon going over, as the resets did come through. But it's really not that bad. Devin, though, you need to not be here, buddy.
I'm surprised he must have been looking somewhere else on the map. How close he got to Kisno. Funnily enough, though, I think Kisno was also not looking exactly where he was. So he does have to burn that flash, and that signals to Kizno that they could potentially go for a dive, but Devin's going to sacrifice that turret. More gold to the Goons.
And this is first turret as well, so that's a little bit of extra gold. 600 straight to Jinx too. That was not shared at all. You can see about 1,000 gold advantage there. Well, now about 900, but you get the point. It is a solid advantage here for Jinx, and the cull still has not popped as well, so that'll be another chunk of gold for Jinx.
PCL likes his odds of 1v1. There's the interaction we were expecting. The all-out drags him over the wall, but the Ragnarok comes out late. Does PCL enough to go under the turret?
PCL.
He's dodging all of the knockups. He hits the axe. PCL hits back-to-back solo bolos. But this time, Kizno's going to try and bail it out. Gets the Glacial Prison slow. And they're going to try and gift this one over to Array.
Oh,
There's
no.
a good shield, though. They're really trying to get the gold onto this Jinx, and the Zap will
There.
do it.
For a small second, there was a small part of me that said, man, if PCL gets out of this, it's... Oh, no.
Death Rush, here it goes for Gentle Hearts, and Dabju pays the price. Simple enough.
Yeah. I mean, hey, that's all you got to do, right? It was a 1-for-1 trade there for the Olaf and the Thresh. So they grabbed that kill. Cool. Okay, you lose PCL, and that's a little bit rough. But PCL, that man had 2 kills on him at that point. He was not going crazy. He did not have a shutdown. You're fine trading that. You now get the Rift Herald, which hopefully cracks open some of these towers. And these towers going down just make Nocturne more and more scary. Because as the game goes later and later, your threat range is higher and higher as these towers no longer exist to protect you as you move out the base.
Seems like Gentle Heart's the ones losing all these towers. That's a pretty pivotal one to find as well. Sudsy, he's done for qualifier after qualifier, gets these leads on his own, gets that mid tower on his own. Adaption having to burn that flash to get away from Cross, though.
Also burns the ult, which is a very pivotal peel spell here for Jinx. So Array, they do need to pull everybody up. Sudsy and Kizno are here. It's 4v4 actually, because here comes Zhao Danny as well. But it is just everybody trying to run everybody else off.
Yeah, the both jungglers didn't have their pretty important ult starting ultimates, or fight starting ultimates, so it was really just everyone puffing their chest, flexing their muscles. I dare ya, and nobody took the dare.
Yeah, and I mean, for the best right now is PCL. Honestly, I just, granted, I am not world's greatest Olaf player. I do not understand this champion to the level of some of these players do, obviously. To me, Olaf is an enigma. He will win when he shouldn't, and he will lose when he shouldn't. And it's kind of one of those things where PCL could just kind of go in and fight, and I'd be like, yeah, he probably wins that if he's taken.
Yeah, Olaf, one of those champions. It doesn't really matter it usually never matters with the gold difference, experience.
You just kind of feel it out.
You just, yeah, if he gets on top of you and you don't have enough damage or enough escapability, you're gonna lose no matter what the scenario is.
But now, as we kind of see, we're seeing the Jinx and the Aphelios both start to hit a little bit of critical mass. They've both gotten some kills. They're getting gold, and they're threats now. Collector is already finished for Devin, the Kraken Slayer for Array. And what's interesting now is kind of with Kraken Slayer no longer having the crit on it, Array honestly feels a little bit less strong until that Infinity Edge comes along. Because the only crit you really have is the Renon's Hurricane, and you don't have a lot of AD to really back it just yet. So Jinx still looking to scale up, whereas the Collector on Aphelios we've seen kind of be strong. Depending on what your gun combination is, you can really do some damage with that.
And the BF Sword 2 signaling that likely, I believe, IE rush. So
yeah,
if you're talking 2-item power spikes, I think that's an amazing point at 1,000 eyes. Devin's gonna hit a bit harder if he can get to there before that third item for Array comes through. But both teams looking like they're pinging a lot towards this dragon. About 10 seconds until first Mountain Soul Drake spawns.
now it is 1-1 in dragons, which means honestly you can give this dragon and it's not really that big. If you want to favor something else, you can go for that, as we're seeing here.
I think Dragoon realizes he's just getting completely mob squatted, and nobody's going to come to save him because they're going for the dragon. You will all out. Cross gets a slow, but Clyde on the flank. This is 4 versus 1, and it's Devin to get the kill, so You give up the Dragon to get some gold under your priority carry if you're Gentle
So
Heart.
here's the thing, though. They took a lot of time to do this Dragon, and granted, Way is pushing on this bot side, but it does mean that because they're taking so long to do the Dragon, they now get to pop Rift Herald on this top side. They're going to take this tower, and that's another chunk of gold going over to not only the Nocturne, but the Aphelios as well. They get the tower first, and now the wave is cleared. Sudsy has to give his life for this.
Yeah, Sudsy will. He gets a Seraph Shield, though. Drops a Spiraling Despair for a slow and
With
does
flashes?
flash away.
Okay.
Sudsy never
That's
panics.
a lot. That's a
Better
lot
move right
burned.
there.
Lot burned just to make sure they can get that even trade in the. We are ghosting for what? PCL. All right, there's a little bit we thought very positively of that play.
If that was pre-Ghost nerfs, I actually think PCL would have caught up to him. That's how
yeah,
long it lasts.
yeah, but I also am assuming that we know what the nerfs are for Ghost.
Yeah, exactly. That's also a very valid point for a semi-pro player to be aware of. He gets the
Reading
tower,
patch
though.
notes is a little important. He does get the tower, and it is kind of just like not really in. So he's gonna let the minions die for it as well. So White can't even really walk up to this, and gold lost is gold lost. So PCL again just kind of split pushing and trying to open up opportunities for the team here.
I think you know what I'm going to say here because I've said it twice already in this series. Come into mid-game, and our game is close. This might be the closest we've actually been going into a mid-game. How poetic for Game 3.
It is honestly a lot closer than I thought it would be about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, again.
I-
It's Game 1
I-
again.
I really thought Dragoon's Goons were just starting to like run away with it. It's like, all right, this is what we expected from the start of the series, to see Dragoon's Goons do really, really well and then kind of just run away with the game. But Gentle Hearts have kept themselves in it and honestly made a lot of really good plays to just recognize like we need to make picks. We cannot really team fight in some of these situations. And, you know, also PCL again, just kind of knowing this champion, knowing the limits that can be made even when you're behind on the Olaf, and opening chances for Gentle Hearts to either just get kills or find something across the other side of the map.
And I think it's really intriguing, too, that we've slowed down. And it's partly because both these teams recognize we're kind of okay playing the scale game. I know there's a Nocturne on the Gentle Hearts side, but you got an Olaf, an Orianna, and a Aphelios. And then if you're Dragoon's Goons, it's a beefy front line with Cassante to scale up, and then a Hoi Jinx. So, especially for Dragoon's Goons, they're definitely not in a position to really create much more into a Nocturne Orianna. They're waiting for Gentle Hearts to go for something, but Gentle Hearts also kind of want their carries to scale up well.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a little bit of a weird situation where it's like, okay, both Aphelios and Jinx are kind of just looking to scale, and honestly, mid lane not much different. Xiaodaddy and Sudsy, they're both playing some pretty darn scaling champion. Where the difference lies is the top and jungle here. Whereas you have that frontliner in Kisno and you have Dragoon, who's very much the same. You have duelists, you have pick potential, you have just people who are looking to pop their ults and make skirmishes happen in Nocturne and Olaf. And right now, there's a full team fight.
Yeah, Kisno found Devin, forces his flash out. The lights will go down, so Goons are pretty unknown where people are, but they have PCL pit. He's running through the entire team trying to get to the back line, but he takes the turret and will fall. Dragoon also walks his way into all of the Gentle Hearts crew. So it's a trade of top laners in our first 5v5, but the Goons are wearing a couple more bruises.
They absolutely are, and honestly, it was a fight that I thought for sure should have gone in Dragoon's Goons' favor. They had the good start to that, but the nice flash from Devin to stay out of that glacial prison, and then on top of that, the great shockwave from Xiaodaddy just chunked out so much of Dragoon's Goons' backline. Could not continue that fight in the same way, and ended up just being a 1-for-1 at the end of the day.
Now everyone's eyes got to go towards that Dragon timer. Baron is on the Rift, but pretty ballsy for either team to try and just slam it. This is pivotal, right, Thousand Eyes? Because if the Goons get it, there's a whole new win con opened up.
Yeah. Yeah, things get a little sketchy. And now, what's interesting now is, we're currently seeing that wave control is going over to Dragoon's Goons. They're going to get that first pass on this Dragon here in 20 seconds. Now, there is still that pick potential, but they don't have the Orianna. The Orianna is topside, and you can see she's rotating down right now. They want to have her with the Nocturne. They want the ability to make the Nocturne alongside the Orianna ult and try to get something there, or they may just go to rush Baron while the Dragon spawns. Oh my goodness.
But Snudsy spots it with that.
Sudsy saw.
Yes.
They're
spots
still
it with the
going.
Hold, and they're still burning it down. They maybe track the backs of Array and Dash, and they spot out that they're on a reset, so they have a bit of a window. Spiraling bolts aren't just doing anything but scouting. This is getting really low. The Rockets can come through. Can Kizdo get the hero steal? It's close, but it's picked up by the Nocturne. Cross grabs it. Kizdo has the Lantern out. How did Gentle Hearts Gaming just pull a Baron out of their rear side?
I am amazed they made that work. That was so sketch. The fact that they saw from the beginning that Sudsy was catching them out on that. They just stuck to it, went in, and honestly, it was 50-50. Kizdo just panicked, smite a little bit too early, and the Baron goes over to cross. A huge win for Gentle Hearts. Now, it is the soul point going back over to Dragoon's Goons, so they don't get nothing out of this, but what they do get is an insurance plan for the storm that is coming of this Baron from GHG.
And I don't hate that insurance plan, Thousand Eyes, because a
I don't
Mountain
either.
Soul on a Cassante Sejuani Thresh team could just win this game and series. But they could also win it by finding picks on the Clyde. That is the weirdest death sentence interaction we've ever seen. Clyde is pretty tanky though. It's Dragoon Adaption hitting him. None of the real damage for Dragoon Goons is there. Has to go out, though, as the rest of Gentle Heart shows up. Teleport in from PCL into the middle of all of the Goons. But he just Ragnaroks, runs out, and it's Devin to pick up the kill.
So throughout all of that, Dragoon just cannot get the help there. It's Dragoon and Daption that find the pick, but it's on to Clyde. They can't do a whole lot. Clyde walks away, and all the rest of GHG are there. And now Nocturnal.
Oh, the Lantern still brought through Cross, but the Shockwave somehow didn't land the effect, and now Cross is on the wrong side. Glacial Prison for Kizdo. Array picks up and now gets excited. Goons read that pick play well. They're looking for more. Can't overstep, though. They're still down a man. Clyde looking for an engage on the action. Scholar Despair misses for Sudsy. Devin dodges it, does even exhaust, but Clyde is as good as dead, and Array's excited once more. The Rocket's flying.
No.
Devin's down now. Shut down over to Array. Here come the Goons. The slows land on a PCL. We'll give the Baron, but we're going to take more on the fight. Shout the Goons.
What a rough Nocturne Orianna ult combo there. The Shockwave was just too early, and they tried to get it on there, and the Lantern coming down puts Cross in the wrong position. They were not prepared for the Thresh to Lantern Jinx out of that. They lose Nocturne. They try to continue the fight afterwards because at that point they're too far forward and there's nothing to be done. Devin gets exhausted, Jinx gets excited, and the power differential at that point in that fight is immovable. Array is crazy right now. We have the 3 items on the Jinx. The Infinity Edge is finished, and Jinx is looking to wipe the floor if she can get at least 1 kill in these fights.
I mean, Gentle Hearts, the mission is simple. If they do not kill Array, they will lose every fight and the game by this point. The question becomes, can the Goons protect well enough, position well enough? Because Gentle Hearts are going to come at them with the same things we've been talking about since Draft Thousand Eyes. Ragnarok Olaf and that Shockwave Paranoia combo.
Yeah, they still do have it, but it's... I think what's really demotivating and kind of deflating for GHG is the fact they worked really hard for that Baron. They made a really good call and were able to pull it off, and they didn't get anything with it. They won a fight and then could not make their combo land that cost them everything. They lost so much off of that, and all of their tempo is gone. The Baron is gone. There's not a whole lot that they gained from it outside of the gold for killing the Baron. Meanwhile, remember that insurance plan. We have 2 minutes until the soul is available for Dragoon's Goons, and it seems like everything they have put forward here is about to pay off.
And every summoner will be available for that fight. It's actually, all of them are available now except Daption's Exhaust. But the key ones to have those summoners on obviously are Array and Sudsy. You can't flash this Shockwave, and if you flash too early, the Nocturne will still follow on top of you, but those flashes could be series defining.
Absolutely, and I think I'm just so scared. We are a minute away from
what could possibly be a series-defining fight, and PCL is currently being looked at for the possibility of an early fight, but I honestly think Dragoon's Goons just should wait. I think they try to fight for this Dragon Soul and they 5v5. I think they 5v5 better, and Array can pop off with that, but GHD need to try and make something happen. Clyde caught out.
Have better wards. They had a pick ward behind, a Seeker's ward in that brush, so Clyde is just dead. Array goes unstoppable. He will be up right as that dragon spawns. Dragoon's going to keep pushing the tempo, gets the knockback onto PCL, who's holding onto that Ragnarok because you need it for this upcoming dragon fight, but even he's chunked out.
Yeah, things kind of just falling apart a little bit here. PCL is low, but there's the shockwave.
Shockwave into the Nocturne combo. Do they have enough damage for Sudsy? It's only cross hitting him. He doesn't pick up the kill. The Glacial Prison saves it. Zhao Denny over the wall, just 1v1ing Array, but Array is far too strong. Kiko's dominating. Devin just can't find an angle for the damage, and Gentle Hearts crumble once more, trying to pick off a carry.
Yeah, but the problem is they went for the carry that has 0 kills and a shield built in with those items. You went on Sudsy, you tried to go for that. That is a way that is not really that much of a threat, and more importantly, is capable of protecting himself a lot more than this Jinx is. You don't get the kill immediately. You take your time on it. It gives all the time for Goons to show up, and Array just, again, gifted another kill, and Array could just walk away with that. It is entirely a Dragoon's Goons fight. They grab the dragon, they're grabbing the Baron, and they might just grab the series with this one.
I think Devin set a trap, though. The Baron is going to go down. Cross is going to get there in time. But they have PCL picked on the side. Doesn't pop the Ragnarok. Sudsy picks up the kill. Now, what we projected to be the result feels all but inevitable with 5 members of the Goons wearing the purple banner.
Goons now feeling like they may be able to walk home with the winners, with the winners win into the deciding match for the quarterfinals seed. But Gentle Hearts, I mean, things got really close. Now they're going for the fight.
Yeah, but Zhao Danny and Devin are chunked solo. Dragoon's holding them at base. So as the front line goes in, there's no real damage behind it. Array goes godlike. He stands up. They do kill Dragoon off in the distance. But look at Devin and Zhao Danny's health bars. They just can't step up to help their support. The front line drops for Gentle Hearts. And with Array's rockets free firing, the inevitability of the Nexus falling seems near.
PCL's here.
PCL respawning. Has the Ragnarok. I think he's just going to run directly at Array. He gets chunked out pretty low and has to back off here. Still not popping the Ragnarok until he's too low.
Devin?
But Devin does find Daption, fully healed up from that fountain. Devin might just hold this game on for another couple of minutes himself.
Oh, they stopped the push. The question is to what end? They're already losing so much, and Nexus Tower is gone. Devin able to push them away with the help of PCL frontlining here, and the respawns will come through. But now there's a Dragon Soul. There's still a Baron for another minute and a half or so. Dragoon's Goons still have absolute control here. As long as they don't make a mistake and get caught out, if Array, which Array has a Guardian Angel now as well, the Nocturne Orianna ult does not feel like it is as threatening as it once was, and Array may just be able to walk in here with the rest of the team and finish this game.
And even Sudsy, if he is also the target once more. You mentioned the Seraph Shield already, but he's got the Seeker's Arm Guard down on top of that. Just stasis out of that combo. It really feels like it has to be Devin going nuclear to win this one, or a dream engage from Clyde or PCL getting on top of Array. They're looking for that flank, but Clyde once again gets picked. Lights go out, so Clyde can try and find his way out. See, the Goons are scared of the combo coming across, so just wait out the paranoia. That one's going to be down for the next 40 or so seconds.
But that's such a crucial cooldown. Even with the fact that there is a Guardian Angel and a Seeker's Arm Guard here, it's still a crucial cooldown, and you don't want to be using it just to get your support out of a bad situation. You now don't have it for this possibly series-ending fight.
There is one Nexus turret with about 33% HP. standing in the way of the Goons going to the quarterfinals. There's a Spiraling Despair on decline. He's happy to eat it up, but he does get burned out pretty quickly. There is the flank from PCL onto a Ray, but a great lantern from Dapture will keep him safe. The Goons are going to try and jump onto Devin. It's only Dragoon that gets traded, and here it is, folks. A Ray's masterful Jinx game gets the Goons to their expected result. It was a windy road, but top 8 is secured for the consensus #1 overall seed, Dragoon's Goons, in 2-1 fashion.
A very well done final game for Dragoon's Goons. I think the game that we wanted to see from Dragoon's Goons from the beginning, kind of what we expected to see from them. Like you said, a winding road. I think an unexpected winding road. There was black ice on the road, I think is the best way to put it. And unfortunately, Dragoon's Goons struggled a bit, but they did get across the finish line, and ultimately that is all that matters. Credit where it is due. Gentle Hearts put up a hell of a fight. They were already upsetting people just to get to this point, and then to be able to go up against the #1 seed, take a game off, be very competitive in the second game still is a very, very good thing. And they're not even out. Gentle Hearts still have an opportunity to move on. They just have another game they have to play in order to do so.
Yeah, what a lower bracket match that could be, Thousand Eyes. If results we're expecting stick, it could be a revenge game for Nightblood Gaming versus Gentle Hearts Gaming. The matchup that started Group B could be the one to end it, but don't need to get too far ahead of ourselves here. And I'm glad you mentioned, though, this was just such a well put up fight by Gentle Hearts. I think whoever they match up against at that lower bracket match is just going to be a tough out in general.
Exactly. And I mean, I think what was really strong was just Gentle Hearts' ability to adapt as things kind of moved on. We saw it in game #1, just pivot to the Camille. Things looked really good with that. Game #2, very hard fought, and they're able to pull that one out thanks to the help there from the Garen. Finally, Dragoon able to make something happen with the Garen and kind of do what Garen does best. And then obviously Dragoon showing up big in the final game there to turn the tides in what was a lot of PCL winning those matchups. Dragoon able to make something out of nothing, and that gave all the time for Array to grab some kills, turn into the Jinx Nightmare that ended the series in favor of Dragoon's Goons.
Ended the series indeed. A fun series, albeit a full fearless best of 3. The whole shebang we got there. It's a 2-1 win for Dragoon's Goons. The #1 overall seed is going to quarterfinals as expected. And Gentle Hearts, we will hopefully somewhere see more from them next week. And once we round out the rest of GSLs, that will round out our broadcast, though, on the Salt Mine Pod. We will be back tomorrow with more GSL coverage. But for now, it was an absolute pleasure, Thousand Eyes, to share the microphone with you and pick your brain on the game of League of Legends. Shout out to Chippy, our producer behind the scenes as well. I believe we'll try and get a raid going if there are any other community streamers covering GSL games. But for now, that's been Thousand Eyes. I've been Slayer. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and take care.